But speaking of quarterbacks, Tiki Barber,
Yes.
tell me if I shouldn't be surprised, but I was surprised that not Daniel Jones has been ruled out, and if you're just tuning in, Daniel Jones has been ruled out, but I was surprised that it happened today because last week, this went all the way until Sunday before the Giants ruled Daniel Jones out. And there were some differences this week. A, he'd been ruled out on a Friday, and then B, and we'll play the audio of the head coach in just a couple of minutes, the head coach sounded very different when talking about Daniel Jones now.
I think the difference is that it feels like this is not a week-to-week type of situation with Daniel Jones. This now feels more like something that could linger for a really long time for Daniel Jones, and that's concerning because obviously they just paid him a ton of money. I think we kind of felt like he was going to be out this week, that Tyrod Taylor would get another opportunity to play. He hadn't been cleared for contact yet, but the tone of Brian Daboll feels more ominous, and maybe we're just reading too much into it. But you're right, the early ruling out of Daniel Jones and then the non-committal when he'd be back, like I don't know if he's going to play for the rest of the year type of thing, makes you feel like this is much more serious than we thought 2 weeks ago.
So Brian Daboll had an interaction with SNY's Connor Hughes about the status of Daniel Jones. Here's the audio, and we all can react in our own way on what you take out of this.
Told us a couple weeks ago that Daniel's going to play again this year. Was that based off of what the trainers have told you, or is that just your hope? Like you hope he plays again?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to go back to that, Connor. Appreciate the question. I just say he's getting better, and we'll see where he is next week.
I guess ask it again then. Do you think he'll play again this year?
Yeah, he's getting better, and we'll see where he is next week. I don't have a crystal ball with injuries, but he is getting better, and see where he is next week.
That is a little less, declarative than what you were previously.
Yep.
You can't answer that in the affirmative.
Yeah. Well, again, I just go with the information that I get. Today he was out. He's getting better. We'll see where he is next week.
Brian Daboll does not like Connor Hughes anymore. That's
I don't
one.
think it's that he just doesn't want to answer the question, and I don't blame him for not wanting to answer the question. I'm not look. This isn't a HIPAA situation. This is obviously an injury report NFL issue that we're talking about, and Connor Hughes has a curiosity that all of us as Giant fans or just football observers are interested in because of the nature of the injury. Like if this was a meniscus, you'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe it hurts and doesn't feel really good, and like surgery's an option maybe down the line, and that isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about a neck injury, a potential spinal injury, or a nerve injury, that could have serious consequences. And you honestly, as Brian Daboll, just don't know what to say. But I think as Giant fans, you got to start steeling yourself to the idea that Daniel Jones might not play for the rest of this season. That's not what you hope, and it's not what you want to even predict. But, geez, it's been now 3 weeks. He keeps saying he's better, and he keeps saying it's different from what he got in 2021, the injury he had in 2021. But if this was something that was minor, I don't think a 3-week hiatus would be something that we would have expected. This is now a major injury.
Yes.
And the fact that they're non-committal about even, practicing today, because he's out, right? He's out today. Not that he's, going to be limited and doing the little things on the side, the scout team, etc., but that he's out. That tells you that something big could be percolating with Daniel Jones's injury.
A part of being a head coach in this town, a part of being a baseball manager in this town, is communicating with your fans. It's not communicating with the media. I know it sounds that way. When Brian Daboll's talking to Connor Hughes, it's the media versus Brian Daboll. No, that's the media is getting us information. They're getting fans information. So part of your job, in my opinion, as a head coach and manager, is communicating with your fans. Early on, Brian Daboll, and you and I both were skeptical of it because it's a neck issue. I remember saying it's more realistic he misses the year than he plays in a week.
Yeah.
But Brian Daboll, I think incorrectly gave the Giant fan hope that he could be back in a week. And that was the mistake. And I think what he should have done upon that injury was kind of give the answer he gave now, which is, look, it's a neck injury. I don't know. He could miss a week. He could miss a month. He could miss 6 months. I don't know. And I know that opens up into a big news story immediately when you say something like that. But it's also honest because you're right. It's not a torn meniscus. It's not an ankle sprain. It's a neck injury. It's a neck injury in which he still has symptoms. It's a neck injury in which he suffered one 2 years ago. So I think the mistake that Brian Daboll made, and it's not an end-of-the-world mistake, but it's a mistake, is that he left the door open 3 weeks ago to Jones not even missing a game. Yeah. And that set the bar in a place where, he may play this week. Even last week, he's questionable until Sunday. And what the head coach should have done is actually do what he did today, which is say, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. He could miss a lot of time. He may not miss a lot of time, because that's probably the most truthful answer you could give.
I think it is the most truthful answer. That nobody knows. All right, this is a feel thing. I'm sure it's a strength thing as well, because we talked about weakness in his left side, and the injury was not structural per se, but so it feels like it maybe is a nerve issue, and I don't know. That's just pure speculation, but it's not something that you can predict when it's going to get better, right? You get a thigh bruise, you get a swelling on your knee, you get broken finger, you get any of these things that are clearly defined, and there's tons of experience medically on return times. It's fine, but once you start talking about a neck injury, it's different for different people, and Daniel Jones might not play another snap this year. And that would be the most damning and concerning thing that has happened to this Giants organization in a while for the quarterback position, because he felt like he was becoming the answer, and he still had to prove some things, right, for sure. But it felt like at least the Giants aren't looking about drafting a quarterback next year. Now, if he's hurt and he's going to miss the whole season, and it's a neck injury, and you don't know what the prognosis is going forward, it changes the calculus for where this Giants team is roster-wise.
No, it's a discussion for down the road, because in the here and now, the Giants can win a football game with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. But I'll tell you right now, we all have opinions on Daniel Jones. And for years, the argument was, is he good? The argument was, can he be great? The argument was, should you re-sign him? That argument about play is over. That argument has been over. He is what he is. He's a middle-of-the-back quarterback. When he has talent around him, he's fine. When he doesn't, he gets exposed. There's a new argument. And that new argument is, can you trust Daniel Jones to play football games on a regular basis? And I hate saying this because I feel horrible, but the answer to me is clearly no. You can't trust him. So, yes, as the weeks go by and the games missed go by, we'll have more and more discussion on who the quarterback should be next year. But as we sit here today on October 27th, and my heart breaks for it, because it's about health. It's about staying healthy. Daniel Jones didn't do anything to deserve this, but sports is a cold-hearted world. And cold-heartedly, I tell you, you can't trust him. You can't trust him to stay healthy. You can't trust him to be on the field. That's just the reality of the new Daniel Jones debate, because I don't think he's magically coming back next week or the week after that. And that sucks.
Yeah,
I say that as a human, not even as a Jet or Giant fan. That sucks that's where we are with him. But that's where we are with him, because this is the second time in 3 years he's going to miss a significant amount of time because of a neck injury.
Yeah, when you're missing a month of a season and you are the starting quarterback, that's a big deal. Now, thankfully for the New York Giants, there was foresight to sign a really good backup quarterback, and that's Tyrod Taylor, who has played well in both of the games that he started this year. Well, obviously won last weekend. You feel like he's just getting more and more comfortable, especially with Jalen Hyatt getting more snaps. So maybe there's some big plays that are to be had as the season goes on. If he has to start, maybe not so much this week against his Jet defense, who plays a lot of zone, so those big plays are going to be less available. But at least you're confident in your backup. Right, there were times, and we know this, Giant fans, you've seen it for the last decade, where pre-Tyrod Taylor, if the quarterback got hurt, it was like, all right, good luck. I hope we can run the ball. This year feels different because Tyrod is a very good leader. He's a good quarterback. He can make the plays, maybe not so much with his legs as much anymore, but he is still mobile. And so you're in a comfortable position despite Daniel Jones being out. But it's still real troublesome that Daniel Jones is continually being ruled out of these games.
No question. And speaking of being ruled out or being questionable or being doubtful, the other key Giant that I know a lot of Giant fans were hoping they would see on Sunday is left tackle Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas a few days ago made comments when asked about his confidence in playing on Sunday. He did not sound like a confident guy, even though a week ago, Brian Daboll said, we're gunning for the Jet game. I think that, maybe not his exact comment, I'm paraphrasing, but that their hope was, their goal was that Andrew Thomas could come back for Week 8 against the New York Jets. Well, on the injury report right now, Andrew Thomas is being listed as doubtful. And when you're doubtful, you don't play.
No.
So it does not look good that Andrew Thomas is going to make his return against the Jets on Sunday.
Yeah, and again, I hate to be the caveater here and I mean this in an upward lift thinking way, right? Daniel Jones is out maybe for the foreseeable future, but Tyrod Taylor is here. You got a really good backup quarterback in Tyrod, and so. Same thing can be said about Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas could be out of this game, and hopefully next week it gets better. But at least the Giants' offensive line over the last couple of weeks has played better. Right, their pressure rate has gone down. Justin Pugh, straight off the couch. He's going to live, forever. That's going to be his subtitle. Is straight off the couch. He's stabilized not only the play on the field, but I think he's been an awesome veteran presence in that clubhouse and in that, not the clubhouse, but the offensive line room. And so there's been some positives that have happened despite the negative of the injuries of those two really important positions for the New York Giants.
It's crazy. Like, a lot has changed over the last few weeks and months. Just think about this game. When we talked about Jets-Giants back in August, when we talked about Jets-Giants when the schedule first came out in May, when we talked Jets-Giants on September 5th, like right after Labor Day, it's so different than the Jets-Giants we're looking at now. The Aaron Rodgers injury, the Giants underachieving or getting off to a bad start. So there's a lot of weird things we never thought we'd be saying. But something you just said, and I don't even disagree with you, is the oddest thing if I would have said this 2 weeks ago or you would have said this 2 weeks ago, which is, Andrew Thomas not playing, not the end of the world. Like 2 weeks ago, it was the end of the world.
Of course it was. I mean, Sean was saying, look, you don't have a left tackle, you don't have a competent left tackle, you're going to get destroyed. What does, at the time, Daniel Jones need? It's not necessarily Saquon. You just need some competent left tackle play. And straight off the couch, you get Justin Pugh because Josh Azudu gets hurt. He has to start or play and then ultimately start at left tackle. They stabilize. It is nuts that we're talking about being okay with two pretty important starters not being on the field for the Giants.
Now, speaking of nuts, because that is nuts, about a week and a half ago, Sean Morash made like a promise. I wouldn't even say it was a bet because he wasn't getting anything back. He just made a promise. He said if the Giants lose to the Jets, he would walk around in a banana hammock.
It was because of the
bikini.
golden thong.
Yeah, something like it. Isn't that what you said, banana hammock?
Yeah, I will walk around into this studio in a banana hammock.
Yeah, for the entire week, I think was the promise.
Banana hammock.
Banana hammock. But Tiki, his caveat was, as long as Saquon and Andrew Thomas play.
You're in the clear.
Now, Saquon is playing, but no, I don't think he should be in the clear.
He's in the clear.
No,
dude, he said it was clear.
No.
You're just trying to change the rules as it's going on, Ev.
I am not changing the rules. I am prefacing that he did say that.
Okay, how about we just make him wear the banana hammock, but he can just wear pants over top of it?
No, but here's my problem. If Sean is still uber confident that the Giants are going to win on Sunday without Andrew Thomas, because I thought you laid that out brilliantly, Tiki, that there's a different feel to not having Thomas Sunday as there was 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
So when Sean made those comments about Thomas needs to play, he felt the way we all felt a week and a half ago. Now that the offensive line is stabilized and Zach Wilson distracted himself by going to Utah, I would think, Sean, you don't need those caveats, even with Thomas not playing. If the Giants lose, banana hammock.
No, and I'm going to explain to you why. One thing I was going to do was, no matter what, if Tyrod played okay, I would have to deal with it. I made that comment before the quarterback got hurt as well. And the difference is, with Saquon, with Daniel, and with Thomas, I thought this had a chance to be 41-0. Now, I understand that this is likely a close game, 9-6, 12-9, something like that. And if a ref call gets in the way, I don't need to have, I'm sorry, my shoestring hanging in a banana hammock because something went awry. I understand this game's going to be tight. No banana hammock now.
Now, well, the other thing I want to make very clear amongst Jet fans and Giant fans, and I tried to do this 2 days ago when I failed. I tried to make a deal amongst all of us that even if the officiating gets in the way, because we're going to have the same crew on Sunday, that officiated the Indianapolis Colts-Cleveland Brown game that ended in disgrace.
And also the one in Jacksonville between the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. There was 164 yards of penalties.
Oh, jeez. So we have that same crew. So it is very much on the table, in fact, probably likely, that one of our fan bases is going to be upset about an officiating call and blame the loss on the officials. And that's why I tried to be fair in the middle of the week and say we all need to make a pinky swear with each other that we're not bitching about officials. Sean didn't agree to it. Tiki did, because Tiki's a classy guy. Even off-air, Tommy Lugauer agreed to it. He's like, you know what, Ev? We always disagree. I'm with you. Pinky swear. Won't blame the officials. Can you at least promise me, with Sauce Gardner being cleared, with DJ Reed being cleared, and the Jets being healthier than maybe we thought they would be, and the Giants unfortunately being banged up because Thomas is doubtful and Daniel Jones is out, can we at least make the promise that we don't use injuries as an excuse on Monday?
Well, we can't because Aaron Rodgers is out of the game. No, but I'm serious.
Thank you.
Because any injury I say, you're going to come back at me and say Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Both of our quarterbacks that we thought in August when we started this trash talk are out. Injuries are off the table.
Thank you. And I agree to that. Because it is a backup quarterback Jet-Giant game. None of us necessarily expected that in August. And the other reason why injuries should be off the table, injuries are a part of football. Like, how many games are played, Tiki? You call games every week.
Yeah.
You watch the sport all the time. How many games are played in which there's a clean injury report and everybody's healthy?
Very rarely. I don't think I've ever seen one. I've been doing games for, 5 years now. I don't think I've ever seen a clean injury report on both sides. So, yes. But the challenge, and by the way, it's increasingly becoming full injury reports. Some of it I think is nonsense, but whatever. But at the end of the day, when you have two quarterbacks, like both quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks at the start of the season out of a game, it just changes the conversation about the game. It's just a different game. So I know what we're saying, that this is, injuries can't be the excuse. And let's be real, this is a wash, right? And it's probably favoring the Giants when you think about it because of Tyrod Taylor's experience and veteran nature, as opposed to Zach, who's still learning a lot of the ins and outs of being a starting quarterback in the NFL. So, yeah.
Oh, probably? Hold on a second. Aaron Rodgers to Zach Wilson versus Daniel Jones to Tyrod Taylor. Trust me.
I'm just trying to make it even, man. I'm just trying to make you feel good.
I already know the reality. Speaking of Zach Wilson may have addressed the accusations against him from our very own coworker that he made a mistake going back to Utah during the bye week. What did Zach have to say back to Sean Morash? We'll get to that, plus your Daniel Jones calls. He is out, and Brian Daboll won't even commit to him playing again this season. Your calls, 877-337-6666. And the great Joe Beningo, a special Friday appearance coming up at 4 o'clock.
You hate the Jets.
We are live from the Town Fair Tire Studios, powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.